Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Cubal studios. I'm hanging out with you, you're hanging out with me, and we are having a great time together on this Thursday. And I love today every single year. Why? Because it's NCAA Tournament March Madness at its best. Round of 64, 16 games today, 16 games tomorrow. And those games will run us from noon Eastern time this afternoon all the way past midnight. That's right, baby. Half a day of basketball, then you go nighty-night, and then you wake up and you listen to Wake Up Call and watch Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Friday, and then an hour after the show ends, an entire half a day of basketball again. So, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is getting you primed for the tournament. You need to join our tournament bracket challenge. It is easy to do. It's on Yahoo. It's the Yahoo Tourney Pick'em one. It's called Wake Up Call. You could search it by searching Wake Up Call, 3 different words, or you could just follow the links. We're going to put those up there today, and I would love for you to put your bracket up against mine and see how you can do this season. We have a great time. We've set records with Yahoo in the past, and it's been incredible, and I feel so thankful for all that we've gotten to do. We have been in the top 20, top 25 bracket pools in the entire world on Yahoo, so thank you to you for being awesome with that. So the tournament now, the NCAA Division II men's and women's, NCAA Division III men's and women's has been going on. We've been following that. We've been having guests on from those, be it Oswego State. Pace is coming up here today. Augusta we've had on. So we've been able to do a lot of great things with that. Now the women's basketball and men's basketball D1 tournaments are going to be going on here, and we have the opportunity to have that happen today as we jump right into it. The first 4 has happened. Now we're in the round of 64. We know who it's going to be, and I'm ecstatic. Make sure you go back and watch my show on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Those shows in the archives there. We have a field of 68 where I break down every single one of the NCAA Division I men's basketball teams, so you have no excuse to not know something about everyone. Then we do the bracket unveiling where Ross Turetsky and I for years have done the drive, and that with a capital D and a capital R for Dan and Ross. We pick the entire field and actually write in our picks on the screen as we're talking about it so you could see who we selected. And we also did an unveiling of the bracket itself on Selection Show Sunday, where Gene Waldron of Syracuse Basketball History and I were at Pizza Man breaking down Syracuse's season in review for their basketball team, as well as telling you the bracket in real time and then discussing the bracket itself, as well as Big East, playing in the Garden, and all of those amazing things while having some fantastic pizza and wings from Pizza Man. My favorites, sweet heat pizza and extra crispy lemon pepper wings. So all that tourney coverage is there for you on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT. That's where you're watching and listening this morning. You're also watching and listening on Facebook.com /WakeUpCall or Live Now DT, and you're listening worldwide on MixLR.com /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage. So with that being said, we have an awesome show set up for you today, and I am so grateful for all the guests that we have. Papa Joe's going to be joining us in just a second here. PJ was off last week. He had to have surgery, and so he is on the mend and getting better here every day. We pray and we hope, as he is, as you all know, another dad in my life, and the father figure that truly embodies who I am as a person. So I love Papa Joe, and I love that he's back here with us, and I'm excited to talk with him. We're going to speak on the Jaguars, wheelin' and dealin'. It only took a week off of Papa Joe being on the show for the Jaguars to wake up and decide that apparently they had their wake-up call. They're releasing this guy, picking up this, spending money like it's nobody's business. They're spending money like the Yankees out there right now, it feels like. So we'll talk about the Jags wheelin' and dealin'. Aaron Rodgers staying up in Wisconsin with his bros up there in Green Bay Cheesehead Factory. And then, of course, we'll get into Tom Brady and the fact that Joe Theismann, Super Bowl champion quarterback Joe Theismann, had said to me weeks ago when he came on my show, Washington will be called the Commanders, and I don't believe Tom Brady's retiring. He was right about both. We broke those two you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and you can go back and read those stories on the articles tab of wakeupcalldt.com. They'll also be shared on our social media. So we'll talk about Tom Brady coming back for season number 23. And then in the second hour at 10:10 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll have Gina Castelli on, a good friend of mine, former head coach of the Lemoyne Dolphins women's basketball team for 8 years. Did a fantastic job, brought them to the NCAA tournament, and gave them their first Northeast 10 championship ever in the NE10 tournament. She'll be joining us as she's part of the Albany staff that in Division I women's basketball is in the tournament after punching their ticket from winning the America East tournament, and they're down in Louisville, Kentucky, as they will be taking on the Louisville Cardinals in the first round of the women's NCAA tournament tomorrow, and she's joining us today. And then Matt Healing joins us from the NCAA Division II as he is the head coach of the Pace Setters and the Pace D2 team from the Northeast 10 as well. He made it to the NCAA tournament, got a win under his belt, and coming off of his time in the tournament, he'll tell us about the season. So a lot of great stuff happening with Papa Joe, as well as Gina Castelli and Matt Healing coming up. So with that being said, I welcome to this broadcast the man, the myth, the legend, the go-so, Papa Joe. PJ, how we doing?
Good morning, Daniel. Well, I felt better for sure, but I'm on the mend. I had a hip replacement, actually 9 days ago, and I'm moving around pretty good in the house. Overdid a little bit yesterday. Mary and I were out and about, and I was getting in and out of the truck and stuff, and I probably tweaked myself a little bit, so I got to be smart. That wasn't too smart. So I do my exercises, and I have physical therapy coming here to the house for a couple of weeks, and I'll be okay. I had my right hip done about 10 years ago, and this one just 9 days ago. So, you know, there are plenty of parts in there, new parts for older people when their joints break down. Now my next surgery is going to be my right knee. It's going to be replaced. And then after that, my right shoulder is going to be replaced. Well, this is over the period of a year.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking forward to it, but at least I'll be looking forward to being perhaps being pain-free for a long time. I'm not pain-free now because I have so many issues, but I hope that this recovery goes well. I'm sure it will, and the subsequent surgeries will benefit me also.
Yeah, you know, and obviously we're hoping the best for you, PJ, and hoping that things get well. I mean, you beyond everything, like I've said here on the show, you know, a dad to me and somebody who is, you know, just an incredible human being. So, I mean, for me personally, I got to keep you around for the next, 30 years, and then we can talk about it from there. But, you know, I'm happy that you got your hip replacement. I'm sad that I wasn't down there to be there with you and to help you with that. But as you and Mary know, you know, if you guys need anything, then you just call me, and that flight is a very quick flight for me to get down to Florida and take care of the father that I truly thank God for every day.
Thank you very much.
So with that being said, PJ, we've talked about Shad Khan and this team and decisions they've made and decisions they haven't made. Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars transaction meter is at an all-time high. They're letting this go, bringing this in, moving that over, moving this here. We're trying to follow the bouncing ball right now and what's going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have made a lot of moves, and we have the opportunity to discuss all of these moves that have went down in Duval. So with that being said, a lot of things that have been happening here, and I want to go back to, we can go to the beginning here of some of the different moves that have gone on. So what they did was they had re-signed Tyler Shatley to a 2-year contract. Tyler Shatley played backup center and really backup offensive line for years on the team. He's been a reserve man that they could lean on, and they've had to lean on him because that offensive line never seems to stay healthy for an entire season together. Speaking of Brandon Linder, Andrew Norwell, Cam Robinson, A.J. Cann, who stayed the most healthy, and Juwan Taylor, So Tyler Shatley got signed to a 2-year contract. Were you surprised in that really the first move the Jaguars made in like free agency and trades and whatnot is they locked in Tyler Shatley? What did you think of that?
Oh, I thought that was a good move. I mean, he's been a mainstay at offensive line for a long time, and he can play any position. And I'm happy that he's being signed. I'm still a little confused about what they're doing with tackle. I know they got Cam Robinson. They're trying to line him up, and Jawan Taylor, the All-American from Florida. I don't know what's happening with him. Then you got the big guy from Stanford there. Can't remember his name right now, but anyway, these guys have been playing the offensive line, and now they signed Brandon Sheriff, who was an All-Pro. So I don't know where this is going, but I like what's happening. And there's an awful lot of uptick here in North Florida. Things are really hopping up. People are talking about it all the time. They're happy with Pedersen. Bucky's obviously doing the right deal. Shad Khan is losing a lot of money because he pays so much money for these players. But
yeah.
There's some free agent signees here that are really giant. I mean, besides the Sheriff, there's some other guys that are super. So Shatley, I think they got to take care of their own first. Let them try to get as many as they can on their own roster. They've already signed the free agents. Let's see how those mix.
Yeah, and I think it's good to have Tyler Shatley there. You want to pay the guy who you've been able to lean on so many different times when you've needed help. So I think, to do right by him, he may not be a household name to some of you listening here, but to have Tyler Shatley is to have more consistency than they've had. So Greg said, oh boy, really eager to hear your honest take on all these transactions. The Jags have been the talk of free agency, not necessarily in a good light. And he said, PJ, glad to have you back on the air. So,
thank you,
and PJ saying thank you to Greg. So, to take a look at these transactions, you mentioned one. And we looked at Cam Robinson, franchise tagged, which means they're going to give him a lot of money and try to figure things out. They released Carlos Hyde, which I totally understand on that. It's a guy that they brought in under Marone, then they released him, and then Urban Meyer brought him in, and then now he's getting released under Doug Peterson. Some other guys have gotten opportunities. Some linebackers have been brought on. Brandon Sheriff has been brought to the team for the Washington Commanders, which is good to help shore up the interior of the line at offensive guard. Tight end Evan Engram, that's one where I don't think that Evans got, and I understand people say, he's got to keep his hands on the ball, this, that, whatever. A couple of years ago, Saquon wasn't playing. The offensive line's not that great. They didn't have any wide receivers that, were the household name guys that you could lean on and be consistent with, in fantasy or reality. So I think, Evan Engram kind of got a bad rap a couple of years ago, but he's gone down. He was like a top 5, heading to a top 5, if not a top 5 tight end in the country coming out of college and early on in his time, and he had Eli Manning there. And then things have changed over time, and Evan Ingram's kind of fallen down a bit. But this is the biggest name tight end that they've brought into the Jacksonville Jaguars in years, many years. So that's, a good sign that they're at least making a move to do something of that sort. And, Christian Kirk, another guy that they're bringing on to the team, Christian Kirk allegedly paying him a lot of money here to come on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, when you take a look at all this, Will Richardson, who has been a backup for them, offensive tackle, he signed a 1-year contract to stay. Darius Williams, corner, signed a 3-year, $30 million contract, and we'll see what that'll do. The Andrew Wingard, safety, they kept him for a year. Terry Godwin is back with the team. Brandon Sheriff, I said. Zay Jones is an interesting move because Zay is somebody that I know from my travels. So I actually know Zay Jones and got to cover him in East Carolina. He ended up setting a new record for career receiving yards all time for a college football player at the D1A level. And then Zay went on to Buffalo, and nothing really worked out. I don't think Tyrod Taylor was necessarily the best. It seemed like, Zay's one of those guys that can make plays. Tyrod's not really going down the field. And then Zay got moved to the Raiders. He didn't work out with the Raiders. Now he's with the Jaguars. I was surprised with this move with all the guys that they have that they were willing to bring in him, and they signed him for 3 years, $24 million. So they're paying him $8 million a year. I'm also surprised about that move, that they would do something of that sort. And then Christian Kirk, 4 years, $72 million to bring in the guy who is supposed to be the heir apparent to Larry Fitzgerald in Arizona. So let's get into some of that. You know, we've talked about the receivers and their weapons that they have. They've brought in Evan Engram, Zay Jones, and Christian Kirk, and they're paying ample money. Evan Ingram's getting 1 year, $9 million. Zay's getting $8 million a year for 3 years, and Christian Kirk is getting 4 years, $72 million. Your thoughts?
Well, I've been following Christian Kirk for a while. He's the real deal. He's got 236 passes for over 2,900 yards in 2 years, 17 touchdowns in 4 seasons with the Cardinals. And frankly, he's going to be receiving balls from a better quarterback, in my opinion, because of the stature of Arizona's quarterback just won't allow him to throw down the field more. So I think that Trevor is going to have fun with this guy. The one that I really looked at is, I'm not too familiar with. I had to look him up, actually. Linebacker Foy Oluokun. Did I say that right? Huh?
so yeah, well, there's actually 2 of them. There's Foy Oluokun, and then there's another. I want to tell him the other guy really quick here. There's Foy Oluokun, and then there's. I'm looking for the guy's name. I can't find it right now. It's a guy's. His first name looks almost exactly the same. But yeah, Foy Oluokun signed a 3-year $1 million with him as well.
This guy led the NFL with tackles in 2021, 192 tackles, and frankly, I never heard of him. I don't follow the Falcons that much, and he's been credited with 462 tackles in 4 seasons. Now, if I read my stuff right yesterday, Miles Jack is no longer with the Jaguars, so they replaced a good Miles Jack.
Yeah.
Not a great Miles Jack, but a good Miles Jack with really a potential. This guy's he's a potential all-star for many, many years. I don't know anything about him, so I'm going to have to read up about him. I'm very excited to have him on the team. I think Sheriff and this guy are really the ones going forward that are going to make or break Pedersen's year. You have to have offensive tackles in the NFL. You can't do without it. The guy from Daniel, that they signed from Stanford. Help me out with his name. He was supposed to take Juwan Taylor and Cam Robertson. He was supposed to flip flop with those guys and break. Give him a break. I can't think of his name. Anyway,
yeah, that was supposed to. Walker Little.
Right, Walker Little. Right. Now I expect Walker Little to be starting this year. So all of a sudden they bring in Sheriff, who's a Pro Bowler. They got Will Richardson that re-signed. Juwan Taylor, don't know what's happened to him. And Cam Robinson, what are they going to do with him? They're going to make a franchise tag again? That's what I call beefing up the front right there. Maybe Sheriff can play some guard. I don't know, but that's 5 really awesome guys right there. Maybe 6 awesome guys. So with Foy and Brandon Sheriff, I think those are the 2 that Balky can say that he really worked hard on. And there was something yesterday that I read. He said, listen, we were out for 6 targets, and we got all the 6 targets that we wanted. So of these 7 guys we're going to talk about, 6 of them they got. This Christian Kirk, he's an elusive little guy right here. Elusive little guy. I can't wait to see him play. I know that the Jaguars, the wide receiver has not been the most prolific over the years, and last year certainly not. I think DJ Chark now is out of the team. Yeah. He signed somewhere else. I'm not sure. They're probably going to release a lot of these guys, and they're going to have to start all over again. And I think Kirk is going to be one of the mainstays.
Yeah, and I think with Christian Kirk, this is a guy. It's very interesting how and I was just saying to people how small my sports world is, and it gets smaller. Well, Christian Kirk's a guy I've been talking about since he got drafted as someone that I was excited to see take the reins, and he wore my grandfather, my Papa Covino's lucky number 13. And so to me, I was like, this is the guy who's supposed to be the future. He's the one that's supposed to take over. So he was on my radar. And he hasn't really taken over, obviously, in Arizona. And so here he gets a new opportunity with new digs and a new home. And he's still a relatively young receiver in the game, which is good for the Jaguars. And the Jaguars have needed someone who has experience. And the thing is, he doesn't just have experience, he has winning experience. He has playoff experience. And I think that, that's huge for the Jacksonville Jaguars because they don't have that. And so, for me to have people that have this playoff experience and have this winning experience, and, out in Arizona, there's a lot of good that's there. There's 2 Syracuse guys, Justin Pugh on the O-line, Chandler Jones there as a linebacker. There's talent all around. There's DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray, and there's a lot to write home, James Conner. And so, I think being in that environment for Christian Kirk and knowing how to win, now it's time for him to shine. Now he can be the guy. And that's the thing with the Jacksonville Jaguars is they don't have a guy, and we've talked about these last few seasons, right? They drafted D.D. Westbrook. He was supposed to be a speedy guy, and then they let him fall off the map. And nobody really picked him up for a really long time. I think Minnesota eventually did, but D.D. was just sitting out there in free agency, and I felt bad for D.D., and I was looking at it at the same time and saying, okay, if he's just sitting out there, then the Jaguars must know something. Something must just not have fit with them. And so, he's gone. Then DJ Chark, they draft him out of LSU. He comes out right out the gamut, and he drops an important pass in one of those games. I'm in the locker room after that, and I got to interview DJ Chark, and I like being around DJ. And he's another guy that they drafted. It didn't work out. See, the Jaguars, the issue is a lot of the moves that they've made in the draft over the years of a decade at least, the guys don't work out. Jalen Ramsey was a problem. Telvin Smith was a problem. Yannick Ngakoue was a problem. And then you look at DJ Chark didn't work out. D.D. Westbrook didn't work out. And the Leonard Fournette thing didn't work out for them either. Leonard Fournette probably the most talented there with Jalen Ramsey. And so, Jacksonville has kind of had to put their tail between their legs of the last few years and say, okay, well, you know what? We've made these draft picks and they don't work out. We've used them for this year and that year. So what's your take on that? Because Jacksonville has had multiple quarterbacks. They've had Nick Foles, Gardner Minshew, Blake Bortles, and Trevor Lawrence over these past few seasons, and they've all been recycling DJ Chark, D.D. Westbrook, all these, these guys that have been on the team for a long time. They continue to be recycled through, and now these guys are gone, and now it's Marvin Jones Jr. to lead the room. It's, Christian Kirk to come in and work to be a leader in the room as well. So what are your thoughts on the fact that Jacksonville is finally letting go of these young receivers that they had, that no matter who the quarterback or the head coach was, it just wasn't working out?
Well, it's just part of the game, It's unfortunate that, the coaching situation at Jacksonville has really never been that strong, we love the guys, except for Urban, the jerk. But, the Teddy Bear Marone, just a good guy. But, you hit and miss with these guys, and if you don't have a winner like Laviska Shenault, imagine him and Kirk on the same field together. That will be scary for the defense. I've been touting Shenault for a couple of years, and I know that he's going to be the type of player that the Jaguars need. And frankly, for years I was touting D.D. Westbrook too, because I thought for sure that he was the downfield receiver that the guys needed that could break one, And it just didn't work out. I don't know why. Perhaps maybe it's the way the quarterback throws the ball and things like that. But, hey, if you're a receiver for the Jaguars now, there's no reason for you to complain about how the ball is going to be thrown to you because Trevor Lawrence could rip it. So we'll see what happens. And I know that the Jags have got had some problems with tight end, but, they got Farrell from, was it Carolina? Yeah, I thought he was going to – I think he's still going to be a killer. And now with this young man, Ingram, it seems like that's going to bulk that up a little bit. I do want to question one guy that you had mentioned that maybe signed somewhere else. Did you say Wingard's assigned somewhere?
No, he came back.
He came back good because that kid sticks his nose in everywhere. I love the way that kid plays. Wide receivers, Zay Jones, don't know a thing about him, read a lot about him, caught a lot of passes for Oakland, caught 171 passes for 1,884 yards, and 11 touchdowns in 5 seasons. That's not very prolific, but somehow, Balky and Khan have seen something here, and Pedersen, that they like this guy. They got Jones, you're going to have Laviska Shalat, you're going to have Christian Kirk on the field together at the same time. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think, I have to sneak up there. I've been saying this for years. It's just hard for me to get around. I want to sneak up there and just see a live scrimmage to see how these guys play, because I really would love to see what this guy, Christian Kirk, is like about. You make mistakes over the years. The Jaguars certainly have made a lot of mistakes. Gosh, they've made so many mistakes, and you got to rinse your hands of it and just keep going and find someone else. And I know that the free agency is still not over with yet. There's still some targets out there they're looking at, but there's other guys that they have signed that are really exceptional. And this guy, another one of your foreign names here, Foley Fatukasi. How about that? Did I do that one right?
Well, and that's the one I was talking about that was similar. So, yeah, Foy, yeah.
He had started 23 games in 4 seasons with the Jets. The 18 career tackles for loss and 14 quarterback hits and 3 sacks. In 4 years, that's not a lot of production. But for some reason, Pedersen sees something in this guy, and he's bringing him in. So, you can always use defensive line work. So there are some other guys to talk about. Another one is Darius Williams, who we have been following. He's a serious guy. Played for the Rams, started 26 games over 3 seasons, 6 career interceptions, 27 pass defense. I think he's going to be a starter, going to come right in. So you got 6 or 7 of these guys that are going to be, I think that they're going to be high-impact guys and going to do it immediately. I think that they're already given a job on that team. Certainly, they're already given a job as a starter. So we'll see where it goes. We've got 7 guys to talk about here, including Engram. Don't know much about him, but the other guys seem like they're going to fit right in.
Yeah, and how about this? Allen Robinson, former receiver for the Jaguars, is a free agent now as well. So, I mean, not that, I know Shad's probably got some in his personal bank account, but I don't know how much more money they have to spend here. It's interesting, though, that the Jaguars let Jalen Ramsey go do the trade. And I said I wanted 2 first-round draft picks. I was told I wasn't going to get them, and then we got 2 first-round draft picks, one in 1 year, one in the following year. And I see the irony of Jacksonville got draft picks, gave up Jalen Ramsey to the Rams, and then here we are a couple seasons later where they're now going to the Rams and going, okay, you have Jalen, you don't need Darius Williams. So we'll take that corner. And he's coming from a team that just won a championship. So, you got Darius Williams at corner, who's just won a championship with the Rams. You have, like you said, some of these other guys that are, back here, like Andrew Wingard, safety for the Jaguars. So, you're bringing in guys from Arizona and from the Los Angeles Rams that know how to win. And that, to me, is huge for the Jacksonville Jaguars to do something like that right now. There's still a bunch of big names that are out there in free agency, and, I'm excited about this. I imagine that Rob Gronkowski is going to come back to the Bucs and be with Tom Brady, but there's a bunch of names that are sitting out here, and you mentioned DJ Chark, and DJ Chark Jr. drafted by the Jaguars a few seasons ago on LSU, and I also mentioned the fact that Miles Jack, and you talked about that too, Miles Jack is signing with the Steelers, and DJ Chark is signing with the Lions. Chark is signing a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Lions. Little tester there. That's a lot of money for a guy who hasn't performed that well, but, you could go get it, go eat. And then on the other side, Miles Jack on the defensive side of the ball, Jack is looking to move on from the Jaguars with the Steelers. and we'll see Miles Jack and what he's going to do. And I believe his contract is going to put him in a situation where he'll be there for a couple seasons, as the Steelers are trying to make some big-time moves right now to showcase their future, and a future that's going to obviously be at a point where there is no more Ben Roethlisberger. So what are your thoughts on Miles Jack? I mean, he seemed to be one of the most talented guys in the locker room that wasn't a problem, in my opinion. I've interviewed him. I've been around these teams, and I didn't see any issues from Jack like I saw from others. Calais Campbell, Miles Jack, AJ Boye, all guys really talented and didn't get involved in the drama, it seemed like. What are your thoughts on Miles Jack being sent away?
I hate to see that. Miles Jack was the glue, really, in the defensive side of the ball, all over the field, made tackles everywhere, can run down running backs, play off the tight ends, blitz, quarterback sacks. He was a true player. I don't know why they didn't sign him, but I was really a big fan of Miles Jack. I read something that Doug Pedersen said yesterday. He says, I think we've helped the team. Obviously, Trevor's a big part of the team, the quarterback position. It's something you have to look at, and you have to be honest with yourself. If you have quarterback in place, what is around him? You really focus on the offensive line and the skill position, obviously a big component of that. So we know we're Pedersen fans because he's a Super Bowl winner. He knows where he has to build the team from, and he's starting in the offensive line and going out. And these guys, I tell you, Trevor Lawrence will not be on his back too many times this year. I'll tell you that.
Well, and that's the hope is to finally have that aid on the offensive line, and before the draft. I think that's good too, to go out and get Brandon Sheriff from the Washington Commanders to have. I don't agree with franchise tagging Cam Robinson, but I am happy that he is on the team and that he's back there for them. So, you look at it and say, okay, Cam's back, Tyler Shatley's back, Jawan Taylor's still there, Walker Little's there, Will Richardson's back, and then you bring in, and if you're going to keep Ben Barch at your right guard, then Brandon Sheriff makes sense to put at your left guard, and then you figure out what you're going to do in the right guard situation. Are you going to let Tyler Shatley be the all-time center now? And still you got to have depth for Cam Robinson because he gets injured all the time, unfortunately. Andrew Norwell, who they paid a ton of money to take out of Carolina a few years back, big-time contract. It was I think it was a 4 or 5 year contract, a lot of money. He's now a free agent. So, Jacksonville does have the opportunity, to their benefit, to shed. As much as they're spending money, they have the opportunity to shed some money here now. And I want to take a look at the free agent list that they had here with Papa Joe on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal Studios, where sports meets life. So before we take a step aside, I do want to take a look at Jacksonville and what they had in free agency and money that they can get off the books. So you bring in Christian Kirk and you put that, 4 years on the books of $72 million. Brandon Sheriff, Foy, Oliokun, you bring in Foley, Fatukasi, Darius Williams, Zay Jones. But you look at Miles Jack, you take that $16 million off the books here as he's heading to Pittsburgh for 2 years. You take DJ Chark off the books and he's getting 10. And then you look at some of these other things. Taven Bryan finally leaves the team, a former Gator, drafted in the first round by the Jaguars, pick that made no sense to me at the time, and he is going to Cleveland for a year for $4 million. AJ Cann, who was the team, or what on the offensive line was the most consistently healthy player playing right guard for Jacksonville, he's gone to Houston. That happens a lot. Houston and Jacksonville seem to trade, move players in free agency back and forth all the time, like AJ Boye. So AJ Cann is 2 years, $8.5 million, no longer on the team, and so we'll see him go. Andrew Norwell is a free agent. We see Jihad Ward, who they brought in last year, is a free agent. Carlos Hyde is a free agent. Trey Herndon, who filled in, I thought, pretty well when Jalen Ramsey left the team in the trade a couple years ago. I thought Trey Herndon did well. He's out there. Damian Wilson, outside linebacker, he's out there. James O'Shaughnessy, who is one of the carryovers from their run to the AFC Championship game at tight end. He's a free agent. Adam Gotsis, who did some good things last year, an Australian guy, and I got to interview him at the end of the season on the D-line. He's sitting out there in free agency. Lorente McCray is there as well, linebacker / D-end. Laquan Treadwell, who is on the team, who actually did some good things on the team and was on the team and then off the team and then made the team again. I got to interview him. He's sitting out there. So I'm surprised that Laquan Treadwell hasn't been brought back in, and I'm surprised about Trey Herndon as well, but I'm not surprised. They tried Jihad Ward. Obviously, they didn't think it worked. And Andrew Norwell, they finally get to shed that money. Taven Bryan didn't work out for the team at all, so I'm not surprised in that. So the Jaguars are trimming the fat here, which I think is a good thing, and I mean that figuratively, but, you know, in my opinion, they're trimming the fat of a bunch of these names that didn't work. The Andrew Norwells, the DJ Charks, the Taven Bryans of the world, and I'm okay with that. So what are your thoughts on those that they're letting go, and are you surprised that certain guys like Trey Herndon and Laquan Treadwell and O'Shaughnessy haven't been asked to come back?
You know, you bring in a new regime, and they're going to bring in their own players. I mean, this is not a surprise. One thing I do want to check up on, though, and I know you'll have the answer, is that isn't Brandon Linder, isn't he the center? And he's been a center for years. Isn't he coming back?
So Brandon Linder he's been the Jaguars center. I thought he was here longer than he has been, but Brandon Linder, because they also had Meester back in the day. Linder currently, as of the last 2 hours, there hasn't been a decision made on what's happening with him. So he was selected in the 3rd round of the 2014 NFL draft. He's 30 years old, but they have not made a decision on whether or not they're taking him back. And bringing in Tyler Shatley, who has been the guy that's filled in for when Linder's been injured, could be not a great sign for Brandon Linder, but I don't know, maybe they're asking him to take less money, but as of right now, he's not signed.
Yeah, I like Linder a lot. I think that he makes sense here, mixed in with the new guys coming in. I think we're finally going to see what Walker Little can do this year. I think he's probably going to wind up being a starter. I'm a little disappointed in Juwan Taylor, my Gator. I don't know what's going to happen with him. But I thought, we always talk about this, and we talk about it every year, with Cam Robinson and Juwan Taylor. Yeah. I thought that they would be the bookends for years to come for the Jaguars, bookend tackles. And frankly, it hasn't worked out that way. Cam Robinson gets hurt. Juwan Taylor doesn't play well. And, you know, what are you going to do with that? I mean, you got a new regime coming in, new coach. He's got his way of doing things. He wants to see something better on the offensive line, and I don't blame him. He's got a franchise quarterback. He's got to keep standing up. You brought a lot of guys up to date, really, Daniel. I think these are marginal players. So as the week progresses, there'll be more activity in the free agent market. We'll be able to talk about it a little bit more when they make some more decisions. Yeah,
you know, and I'm happy that the 3rd-round pick out of Syracuse, my guy Andre Sisco, coming back for year number 2, so I'm excited to see.
He's a good player. He's a good player.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they can build off for him. Trent Baalke, the GM of the Jaguars, did make a comment on Brandon Linder. He said, quote, "Brandon and I just had a great conversation. We're working through that as we speak. No decision has been made relatively to Brandon as of right now. We're moving forward," end quote. Now, if they do not bring him back, $9.5+ million would be saved, and there's no penalties to that salary cap. So they would be able to bring back almost $10 million to their team if they let him go. He's one of the longest tenured players on the team, and like I said, of the players that they draft, they commonly get rid of almost all of them. He's one of the draft picks they haven't gotten rid of yet. So it'll be interesting to see if Brandon Linder is going to be yet another draft pick that they let go of. But when it comes down to it, if Baalke, Shad Khan, and Doug Peterson are looking at the books and saying, hey, you know, this guy has been injured a lot, and Shatley we just signed for 2 years, we can go get another center. We got him. We got Brandon Sheriff to help us shore up the interior of the line, and Linder is going to cost us almost $10 million, and he has gotten hurt for these last couple seasons. So that can be, something that works against him. But I think there was a time where Brandon Linder was the most consistent part of their offensive line, which, at center, that's a great note because that's the guy direct connection to your quarterback. So, I think they're unsung heroes, but there was a time where he was the guy, and it'll be interesting to see if they let him go in this next week or so.
Yeah, and I think Bucky's making the right move here. I mean, the guy is a little bit older, but for at least for 1 year, sign him for 1 year for $8 or $10 million, whatever it is, and solidify the line. I mean, if Trevor Lawrence is comfortable with Brandon Linder as a center, then keep the guy, for Christ's sake. I mean, keep him. So I'm not sure that Lawrence is any part of any type of the equation going forward here about who can come on the team. But I think if you ask him, he would say, I'm very comfortable with Brandon Linder. So there's your answer right there. So let's hope that they can make a deal for him, maybe for 2 years, but maybe nothing more than that. And there'll be some other guys out that they can get next year. So I'm a big proponent of Brandon Linder.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with Brandon Linder. I would like him to be there for some continuity, and I just want him to stay healthy. So Jacksonville making a lot of moves, wheelin and dealin, spending a lot of money and spending it on that receiving core, which we said has been an issue, and so has the offensive line. Defense has gotten progressively better, building some depth there on the line. It's the defensive line, the linebackers, and as well as the secondary. So the defensive side of the ball, I think they've done a better job. And outside of that, I think they should bring back Josh Lambo because I don't think Doug Peterson kicks his kickers. So that would be nice to see. But, I think the defensive side has done some good things. I think offensively, you got to figure out what you're doing with your receivers and what you're doing with your offensive line. They've addressed both of those issues here in the offseason before the draft, which is already showing me that the era of Doug Peterson will hopefully be smarter and better as we move forward. With that being said, we'll take a step aside for a quick, fast break. When we come back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside the Cafe Kubal Studios, PJ and I will address the two number 12s, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. One staying with the team that it was a question, and another guy coming back to the team after a 25-second retirement. We'll talk about all of that right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315 487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal that you can find by going to 3501 James Street as well as 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse. You can find them inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse. You can also find them on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse at their first ever opportunity that they have to be your drive-through location, and of course on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. So make sure you head out to Cafe Kubal today. Grab yourself a cup of coffee, as well as their awesome teas, their fantastic chais that I love, and of course their chocolate chip banana bread and all of their amazing sandwiches and offerings that they have for you. Cafe Kubal is where people go on a little date. It's where they go to hang out and catch up with mom and dad. It's where they go to get some work done. It's where you hang out with friends. It's a place for everybody, and I appreciate everyone who has supported local at Cafe Kubal, so make sure you do that today. With that being said, we got two number 12s to talk about, PJ, so let's hop right into it. We got TB12 and we have Mr. Aaron Rodgers. What are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers staying with the Green Bay Packers and the contract that was allegedly released? He said, I am staying with the Packers, but I did not sign a contract. The contract now, the terms of it look a little bit different. So he came out and said, hey, those numbers weren't right. Apparently they weren't. So we do see he is returning to the Green Bay Packers. We also see the fact that the Packers, I think, have the last 2 years as an option. There's going to be a little bit of wiggle room there. And Tom Brady has decided to come back for a 23rd season, which surprised nothing on my face. So what are your thoughts about Aaron Rodgers staying and Tom Brady returning?
Frankly, it's great for both guys to play football. We get to watch them another year. So Rodgers just doesn't surprise me. My bros up there have been hinting at it. They had something in the works for the whole time. I'm not sure. It's a complicated deal, but it's worth so much money. I mean, I think it's a 4-year deal for something like $180 million, some ridiculous amount of money. And so you're going to see Aaron Rodgers probably play into his 40s up there, and Devontae Adams will be happy about that. Now they got to sign him. Aaron Rodgers, you've heard me talk about him over the years. He's a diva. He's a kind of a pain in the ass, but he's a hell of a football player. And he gets his way up there, and damn if he didn't. Tom Brady, I like your comment on 25-second retirement. That's great. Tom Brady coming back, I guess that didn't surprise any football people either. Sure didn't surprise Arians, that's for sure. One guy who did surprise, who wound up signing in a real hurry, is wide receiver Russell Gage from the Atlanta Falcons. Now, he was told that Tom Brady is coming back. Tom Brady calls him up and says, I want you on my team. Sign the deal. That's how strong he is. So Russell Gage will be probably his number with Mike Evans. Going to be some amazing wideouts for Tampa Bay. Russell Gage set some really good records at Atlanta. Had Matt Ryan throwing for him all these years, and kind of the same kind of quarterback that Brady is. Not a big, strong guy. Doesn't throw the ball real hard, but puts it where it's supposed to be. And Russell Gage, you'd be very happy with that. So you got two Hall of Famers coming back. I mean, if you're a pure football fan, I mean, how can you not like that?
Yeah, and you look at the workings of the Aaron Rodgers contract, and I was looking at it yesterday, and the numbers here that I'm seeing this morning seem to be on par with it. He, in 2022-2023 season, this season, is going to make $42 million. Next season in 23-24, he will make for one season $59.515 million. In 2024, $49.3. The contract that he has is for over $150 million over the next 3 seasons, essentially making him a $50 million quarterback on average And in 2023, I can't get over the fact that he's going to make almost $60 million next season for one season.
Those are obscene numbers. They're not even they're monopoly monies. It's ridiculous. I don't know how any franchise can afford something like that and still pay the rest of their players, 53 players. Daniel, those numbers are so far out that I can't wrap my mind around. I'd have to put it on pencil and paper. I'm glad you brought that up. I'll look it up today, and I'm going to put it on a pad and see if I can make any sense of it. Obscene numbers.
And we look at the fact that the first 2 years are guaranteed upon signing, which means that he'll make around $100 million at signing, fully guaranteed 100 of this $150 million. First year of 40 plus, second year of 59 plus. So looking at those two, and then the third year becomes guaranteed only against injury at the time of signing. So, but the first 2 years are all set in stone once he signs the contract, which is absolutely insane. Now, there is something here. If Rodgers plays this coming season and then retires or gets released or is traded next season, the Packers would have to absorb at least $68 million in dead money and up to $99.8 million if it occurs before June 1st. Another sign that he intends to play at least 2 more seasons there. So crazy to look at that. So if he retires, gets released, or is traded, they have to accept up to almost $70 million in dead money, which could be almost $100 million. So basically, he has handcuffed the Packers to not only pay him, but to have to play him.
What can you say? I mean, I was in the sports business for a long time, and to have a contract like that come through, I'd have to justify it with the income base. I don't know if there's that much money in the income base that can afford this, but apparently there is, and they're doing it. So, well, more power to Aaron. I'd be glad to watch him. Sure, I'm going to have the NFL package that Mary got for me, so I'll be able to watch him all the time. That's good. And for Brady, Brady is Brady, and Fournette, I'm sure, will be back. The Gronk, who knows? The Gronk will probably come back, probably for another year. I like Russell Gage coming to it. You got Mike Evans there. Offensive-wise, they're going to be absolutely awesome. Defense, they're going to have to shore up a little bit. So let Bruce Arians try to figure that one out.
You know, and the interesting thing about this is that there's a notion here. Now, the Packers tried to get Davante Adams under franchise tag, allegedly, and he didn't want to do that. There's another note here that Davante Adams, that the Packers offered him a contract, allegedly, that would pay him $23 million per year. Now, looking at that, it wouldn't be the richest contract for a wide receiver in NFL history. That's the thing. You know, it's like when guys are re-signing and they're good, they're like, oh, well, I want to be the richest ever. Not the richest of the season, not the richest on the team. I want to be the richest ever. I want to be the richest of the whole NFL. I want to be the richest of every decade the NFL's played. Well, DeAndre Hopkins makes $27 million annually. So, allegedly, the Packers offered $23 million a season to Davante Adams. Now, between Aaron Rodgers making $50 million a year and offering Davante $23 million a year, that's over $70 million a year. So I guess Aaron and Davante are going to be playing kicker, punter. Also, they're going to play defensive line, offensive line, safety. How do you pay two guys? I mean, I know Davante allegedly said no, but how do you pay two guys $73 million on the same team and then hope to have any type of a championship run?
No. Let's put it this way. If Rodgers has got 3rd and 5, you know who he's going to go to. So it doesn't make any difference if Green Bay can afford it. I know they have their own cable contract. They're a small market team, too, so they got to be sure that they get the rest of the money from the league when it comes to the taxes and stuff. As I said, we've discussed it. It's obscene money. I mean, it's not it's play money. Rodgers also lost another honey, so he's not doing too well with the honeys. So now he's honeyless, but he's got more honey coming in than money. So I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for Tampa Bay because I get to see Rodgers play. I get to see Brady play again. I don't have any problem with that. One thing you got to look at is with Tampa Bay, and this is something I saw over the course of last year, the maturation point of Leonard Fournette. Now, let's face it, when Leonard was with us, he was a jerk. He acted like a jerk. He sulked like a jerk. He played like a jerk. But when he gets to a situation like Tampa Bay, and he's listening to Tom Brady, and all of a sudden the guy switched gears and says, damn, I'm playing with the greatest players ever played. I mean, I better wash my ass, So he ran a lot better. He caught the ball out of the backfield a lot better. He blocked a lot better. I wish that he was that mature when he was with us. But Tampa Bay, they reap the spoils, and he really is actually the main cog of that offense. I mean, he can do anything. And, we really hammered him a lot. We thought he was immature. He was a jerk. He did all these other kind of things, which he was, But all of a sudden he goes over there, and he's a world beater, so maybe he grew up a little bit.
Well, it's funny, too, because, you see a Leonard Fournette with the Jaguars, and you think, okay, I'm only staying if I get a max contract, and, you want money. And then you see a guy like Leonard Fournette go to play with Tom Brady in Tampa, and he's like, I'll sign a $1 million contract and make a couple million every year. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all relative. If you're on a team that you don't think that's that good, some of these guys are like, hey, pay me a ton of money and I'll stay here. And then, you look at Leonard Fournette in Tampa, and it's like, you could pay me peanuts. I just want to play with Tom Brady. So, but again, Tom doesn't get paid that much. He's typically, he's not the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And, but look at how he wins championships. He takes less money, and he's not going to want for anything monetarily for the rest of his life, nor will his great-great-great-grandchildren. So I think I left out a great. But Tom Brady understands if you want to win championships, yeah, you get paid, but you got to pay Chris Godwin, you got to pay Mike Evans, you got to pay Rob Gronkowski, you got to pay the guys on the defensive side, you got to pay our specialists. Like, he gets it. Where Aaron Rodgers, it's like, dude, you make a ton of money. You're not going to want for anything. You live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You could probably buy the state of Wisconsin right now. So, it's nothing to, I don't know. I think it's like you look at both of them in the juxtaposition and you say, okay, two really good quarterbacks. One of them understands if I take a little bit less, I could build a championship team. The other guy's going, hey, between me and my favorite target, we're going to cost them over $70 million a year. I mean, it doesn't make sense if you want to win a championship because there is a balance of, look at 23 seasons, Tom Brady, and let's say, okay, he makes, let's just ballpark it and say $15 million a year. So let's say he makes way lower, and we'll just put it down to that. You look at that and you say, okay, so $15 million a year for 20 seasons is $300 million. Then you add in the fact of 3 more seasons. So then you put all that together and say, okay, he's made $345 million before taxes in his career. We know he's made more than that, but you look at that and say, he's got all these Super Bowl rings, and he's made over $340 million. Plus he has all his endorsements and everything else he does. And the man is set for life. I'm confident that, if he's not a billionaire, he will be. So he figured out how to make the money and still have a good team. Aaron Rodgers just looks like he wants to get paid. And that to me is selfish because you're not going to build a championship in Green Bay the way that they're going.
It's true. And you're correct. Aaron Rodgers is selfish, too. He's a prima donna up there. That's what it is. You've heard me say it many times over the years. I love the guy because I'm a Green Bay guy, but he's a pain in the ass. But I tell you, it's good for the rest of these young quarterbacks in the league, like Mahomes and Bobby Earbear and Josh Allen. Imagine what those kids are going to command after looking at what Rodgers is doing at the age of 38. Now, these guys we just talked about are in their mid-20s. and they're going to get paid. Let's face it. Mahomes has already gotten paid some $420 million or something like that. But Josh Allen and Ebert and these other guys, Kyler Murray, if they continue to play well, they're going to be making a lot of money too. So it's good for the sport, I guess. If you're a admirer of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, it's good for the sport to see him come back. And hope they don't get hurt. But you got the kid from Lamar Jackson. I mean, what's his contract going to look like? I mean, so Aaron Rodgers is really setting the course for the earning potential of these young guys going forward, notwithstanding the contract that Mahomes has already got. So Mahomes is set for life, and his kids are set for life, and his kids are set for life. So I don't know where it stops, Daniel, but it's you got to be able to earn the money to pay the bills. And I don't know if there's that much money out there to pay the bills.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's crazy to see that amount of money. I mean, again, if you can get it, go get it. I'm proud of you. Just don't plan on winning a championship if you can't afford to bring anybody else in. So you got to have a big roster.
He's a 3-time MVP too. I mean, 2 years in a row. I mean, was it 4 MVPs? Aaron Rodgers, 4 MVPs. How many guys have been 4 MVPs in the National Football League? So, he commanded the money and got the money.
Yeah, and he has gotten 4, so you're correct on that. With that being said, Papa Joe here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate you being here, and thank you as always. I look forward to talking with you very soon on and off the air. My best to Miss Lily down there in Florida. Not Lily, my pup, but to Miss Lily and to the entire family. Please take care of yourself, and I look forward to talking to you soon. I'm sending my love as always.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. That coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we spin back around, we'll be joined by Gina Castelli of your Albany Great Danes. From the tournament itself, she's getting ready, and I'm always happy to have Gina here on the show, and she'll be with us right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Head out to the Millhouse Market every Tuesday through Sunday and enjoy them 3 different amazing ways. They have their drive-through window. You can grab your food and go from your orders that you do on the app by downloading the Millhouse Market app on the Google Play or Apple App Store, and your orders by calling 315-298-4104. That's 315-298-4104. You can also call them for catering opportunities and events as well at that number, 315-298-4104. Grab your food and go in the drive-through pickup window, contactless pay on the app, and keeping it simple and easy for you. You can also go inside to their indoor dining. Their bistro menu changes every single week, so you can come back and try something new. And, of course, they have their general store with local products from local companies, paying it forward, because the Millhouse Market is about bringing our community together and building our community and remembering our history, as their sandwiches are named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Head out to them today on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every time. With that being said, we are back here inside of the Cafe Cubal studios, and one of my favorite human beings is back on the show. She wrote to me within the last couple of weeks, "Did you forget about me?" And I'll tell you why. Because Gina believed in me when I was first coming back to Syracuse. Gina treated me like a king when I have never, acted as such. She was always available, always there to talk about anything on and off the air. Great friend, awesome coach. And so it is my honor and my privilege always to have Gina on. We're going to be more frequent again because I miss my Italian Sunday dinners in the morning with Gina. And so we'll get that going. But she is the Albany Great Danes women's basketball executive coach for program development and player relations. And what that all means is Gina is never going to retire. That's what that means. So they are in the tournament now. They won the America East. The team's got the banner, and they are bringing it proud to Louisville, Kentucky. She's down there in Kentucky right now, and they have the opportunity to get into the NCAA Division I women's basketball tournament round of 64. Round of 68 now, and the play is going to be fun. It's exciting, and I cannot wait to see them tip off tomorrow on March 18th. So with that being said, the coach that will never not be a coach, Gina Castelli, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you. And thank you for having me on again. I'm glad you didn't forget me.
Yeah, no, never forget, Gina. And, Gina, you looked great in the gold and green. But I got to tell you, Albany looks good on you, too. How much fun are you having out there in Albany?
It's been a really great year. Really wasn't sure, how this role was going to evolve, and it kind of evolved in all the things I love to do, so it's been fun. And, obviously, Colleen and her staff did a great job recruiting not only great talent, but great kids that buy into things that, you do. And my role is leadership and culture type things. So, these kids bought into a lot of the things that we did, and, we end up with a championship, so it was cool. It's been really cool.
Yeah, and to see them come through the America East, Beth Ann Shapiro-Ord, she reposted it from Binghamton, excited that you were coming on the show today. Just what you can say about the world of the America East, maybe some notes on Beth Ann or just, coaches in general, because you seem to have this respect from others that you go up against, which I think is a difficult thing to have because they're your adversary. Yet, in your world, coaches seem to support you and speak very highly of you. I'm not surprised, but can you say anything about Beth Ann as she's there in the America East as well?
Yeah. Funny thing about Beth Ann, every time I see her, I feel my age for sure, because when I first got the head coaching position at Siena, she was I had interviewed her for an assistant position at that time, and she was just so young that I myself was young at the time. I was looking for somebody that was a little bit more experienced, in the college world. But obviously, she's done so well, and now being back in the America East and seeing her, she's just one of the nicest people, and really have enjoyed always talking to her, regardless of whether it's about her family basketball, and she's done a great job too at Binghamton. Unfortunately for them this year, they had a really good team. Just they had a lot of injuries, and so their depth or their lack thereof of their depth hurt their chances of doing as well as they probably could have.
Yeah, and to see the America East, just what you could say about going through it and rising above it to punch your ticket. A two-part question, just the talent of the America East, and then secondly, just what you think about, the automatic bid and having that security in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, well, it's so funny because my coming from the Division II level, I was at, Lemoyne for 8 years and then going to Division I, I forgot totally how much different the bodies of Division I athletes are. And so when I went to Albany, I thought to myself, oh my God, these girls are humongous, just in relation to the girls we had at Lemoyne. And, then the athleticism and the speed. But, and then going through the America East, I always say, there's just some great coaches everywhere. And, in the NE10, there were phenomenal coaches in the league. And the same thing here in the America East. It's, there's quite a bit of talent, but there's some great coaches, in this league. And, the amount of preparation that goes into winning a game is extensive. And, that is something that has been eye-opening even for me. The amount of time that we put into just one game is a lot. And, we have the staff to do that, at the Division II level. It's a lot different. But, every level, there's always something different that you're going to learn and grow from. And I'm just very fortunate to be a part of not only this team, but, the staff and the America East. I'm learning and growing as a coach, even at my old age and my experience. It's just been, it's been fun. It's been fun to be a part of that.
Gina, you're not an old person. I think we need to be clear with that.
I feel it. I feel it more, honestly, my age. I feel more around the staff versus the players, because the players are always younger anyway. So,
yeah.
But when I'm around, staff members that are 25, 26 or 30s, and, Colleen Mullen's young too. So it's like, oh my gosh, I recruited Colleen Mullen, at Siena. So, and now I'm working for her. So, it's kind of surreal,
You got to think about that. It's good recruiting always pays off, because you recruited her back then, and here you are. Bring me into what it means to be the executive coach for program development and player relations.
So I knew you were going to ask this question, so I'm trying to figure out how to make this, understandable. Honestly, I felt that my role here at UAlbany was kind of picking up the pieces. Everything kind of was in place, but, obviously they've recruited great players, but also good kids. So the culture, or maybe some press breakers or game adjustments, that's kind of what I feel my role was the most, is offering suggestions, some things that I've done. But things were already in place. She's a great coach, and she has a very good staff. And so if there are things I would see in practice that I thought we needed to work on, I would email her, or I would talk to her and just put it on paper and say, I think maybe these type of things would help us. And and I'm working with a person that wants to have those suggestions. Sometimes you could be working with somebody that thinks they know it all, and she was just open, like a sponge. She just wanted to know everything, and that's what she kept saying, just give me whatever you have, whatever suggestions you have, and some things I'll use and some things I won't. And so that's kind of what my role has been. So I've done leadership and culture with the players, and I've done some X's and O's, with her, the staff, and some game adjustments. So all the things that I love to do. I have no involvement in recruiting, the marketing, none of that. It's just most of the stuff that I'm really find that I can excel in as a coach is what I'm doing here.
Speaking here with Gina Castelli, and I love that. You find the pieces that you love the most, and then you create the job out of it. And you and I talked about that, that in this new chapter of your life, you were going to be kind of tailoring things to where your strong suits are, the things you love to do, where you believe you can help. It keeps you connected to the game, but it also provides for you more of a workable window where you can enjoy life, maybe do some more things for yourself, and not have to be there 24/7. So you're a part of it, you're doing great pieces, but you're in this new chapter. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And I see that with my multimedia marketing partnerships with colleges and universities, is that has allowed me to build a company within my company that works. By the way, I think Albany would be a great fit. But I mean, it puts us in a place where, because shout out to Sam Tortora, my cousin, who is a D1 lacrosse player on their team. So there's a lot of I know about them Great Danes. So I picked them to win the NCAA tournament on the men's side a few years ago when they gave them heck as a 16 seed. So so I definitely see the value in tailoring things and saying, as you evolve, this is what I like to do. This is something that I can kind of set and work on. And so I'm happy that you're part of it. I'm so happy you're part of the staff, and that you have immediately, had this success here in going off to Albany, the D1 level, and seeing this team move into the tournament. You have the daunting task of being a 16 seed against a number 1 seed. Louisville, Kentucky. We had a conversation. Is it Louisville? No. Is it Louisville? No.
Louisville.
It's Louisville. And so in Kentucky with the Cardinals, the 16 seed, what are your thoughts about this as the game is set to tip at the time we're talking in a day and some change here on March 18th?
It's the typical movie, where the Hoosiers, where you want to bring the team in and show them like the hoop is the same height, the dimensions of the court are the same, but the reality is the players are bigger, they're stronger, they are much more athletic. So the one thing you can't ever measure is the heart of a champion. So I mean, we know this is going to be really difficult for us, but these players, we didn't win a championship because we're not a good team. Number one is we have the second best defensive team in the country. It's not just in the conference. We're the second best defensive team. So we do have skills. The issue is going to be for us is, can we do it against, the number 1 team in the country? I mean, literally Louisville is probably one of the top 3 teams in the country right now. And, but this team, what I've loved most about this team, and I've said it all year to them, is the level of intensity that they can play with is, I have not seen it. I've never been a part of as a coach. Even some of our practices, they have been more intense than even some of the games we've played. And when we've played games at a high clip, we've kept some teams scoreless. For long periods of time. So we're gonna need a lot of that. In this game, and then we're going to need to score against a team that's much bigger, stronger, quicker. So, we know it's a tall task, as Colleen Munn often refers to it. But, I think this experience has been an amazing experience for a group of players that the majority of them, if not all of them, are coming back next year. For them to see that when you make the NCAA tournament, how you're treated is so differently. We're taking a charter flight to Louisville, the amount of food that they're given, the gifts that we get, it's just amazing, and, now they'll learn, now they'll understand, okay, why did we get here, for one? And if we want to get here again, do we want to be a 16 seed? Where do we want to go? So we have to strive a little more. So no matter what happens tomorrow, what we're learning through this is just going to be so impactful going into next season. And that's really, to me, what it's more about than anything.
Yeah, and I appreciate all of that, and I look forward to what Albany is going to do, especially, like you said, with the majority of the team coming back. I would also tell you as a side note, if y'all are getting all them gifts, the NCAA, when I cover the tournament, they give you nothing until you get to the Final Four, then they give you a pin. So whatever you're getting from the NCAA, Gina, stash it aside. Like,
No kidding.
ask for two, just, I didn't get my AirPods. Can you give me another one? And be like, hey, Dan, I got the hookup. So, make sure you get that. Before I let you go, I do have to ask you this really quick here as we're getting set to have Matt Healing on the show from Pace. Before I let you go, Gina, want to jump into this. You're a Buffalo Bills fan through and through.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
you got one of my guys that I covered in college and as a Jaguar, Joe Giles Harris from Buffalo. He's a futures contract, so not one of their giant splashes. Ed Oliver has exercised his option for this year. I covered Houston, so excited about him coming back at D-tackle. Some of these other moves that were made as we look here. Micah Hyde, strong safety, converted some of his money to work it out with Buffalo. O.J. Howard comes in, tight end from the Bucks, playing with Tom Brady the last 2 years. And Von Miller
I know.
coming into the team after that man just went and won himself a chip. So,
I mean, my God, I read that last night. I didn't know any of this. I'm just, oh my God, I got chills when I heard Von Miller's coming. Awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, that's got to be. What are your thoughts on what Buffalo was this past year and what they can be now?
Well, what I was thinking last night, I'm like, Buffalo's always been this, blue collar. It's always been a blue collar city, but even the team itself and how it's being managed with Sean McDermott. But I think after last year's loss, I really like how the GM and Sean McDermott have kind of realized that if we don't up our game, we're not going to ever win a Super Bowl, and that they took it a level that I don't think anybody in Buffalo thought we could do, and getting some of these guys. And I mean, Von Miller leaving LA to come to Buffalo, I mean, that's just amazing, and the tight end that we got, OJ Howard, right? I was just reading up on him. I mean, again, it's awesome. It's awesome that they had such a next level thinking and didn't even shy away from it, where I think sometimes the Buffalo mindset is we will never get those guys. And, it's just great that we have that type of mentality, like the big time. And it was awesome. I loved it. I can't wait to see how it works out,
Bringing a Super Bowl champion to Buffalo. Gonna be nuts. So I'm very excited for this. And I'm also excited that armchair or that arm portion of your couch gets a break right now because you're in Louisville, Kentucky. So with that being,
I have my own superstitions here too, so that doesn't go away. I got my own things here too. So I gotta make sure I do them flawlessly.
What are your superstitions? Like if you see a cardinal, you're gonna lose. Like what's the superstition?
No. So for the year though, Dan, it was kind of funny because again, my role, I could travel, I didn't have to travel, all that stuff. So Colleen was so great about hey, you want to come with the team? You can. We'd love to have you. So I did the first game. I went on the trip to Merrimack, and it was an overnighter, and we lost that game. And that was one of those early games where, that shouldn't have happened to us. We're a much better team than that, but we didn't play well. Merrimack did. So the next game I go on, the away trip I go on, I decide it's close enough where I'm just going to travel myself, the day of the game, and we won. So now I go with the team again on the road, on a bus trip, and we lost. So all this, I decided after that, I'm going to drive myself to any of these games that I need to go to. I'm just going to drive myself because we're winning on the games that I drive the day of versus staying overnight. So that's pretty much what I did for most of the season up until we had to travel to Maine. And the first Maine trip that we did, we lost. So I'm thinking, oh my God, we're going to the championship game and we're going to be at Maine. I'm going to have to change something up of my routine in order to feel like, so that's what I did. So I went to Maine. I changed up my routine a little bit. I can't give up that secret. And we won on the road. So I'm feeling a little better coming here and not having to drive 9 or 10 hours to Kentucky. But so it was pretty wild, thinking, oh God. And I think the staff, after a while, they were kind of feeling it too. So I think they were happy when I was driving myself. It's too funny.
I'm going to put it to you like this. When you get a private charter, I don't care what your superstitions are, you take the charter.
You take it, exactly.
So that coming from Gina Castelli, they play tomorrow night in the round of 64. So happy that the women's basketball tournament now has the same as the men's for D1, 68 teams. They do have a first four, and the round of 64 tipping off here, ESPN2 on Friday, March 18th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Albany at Louisville. I know what I'll be doing at 6 p.m. tomorrow, and I know what y'all will be doing too, because you need to support Gina Castelli and this incredible group of young women and the coaching staff in general. So, with that being said, Miss Castelli, thank you as always for everything. I will talk with you soon. And all I ask is that when you go to the snack bar or anything today, just make sure that you take one of those travel bags, and when no one's looking, just start pushing stuff into the bag.
Okay, Dan, I'll do it for you.
All right, Gina.
Thank you. Having me on. Okay.
Absolutely. God bless you tomorrow.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, too.
Same to you.
All right, take care. Bye.
Take care. See you. That coming from Gina Castelli here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We'll take a quick step aside. And Matt Healing coming up from Pace, the men's basketball team, who advanced to the NCAA tournament in their world in NCAA Division II on a fantastic run this season. So we'll talk with Pace right after this fast break with their head coach, Matt Healing, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Cue Ball studios. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. From inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, trio of guests on today's show. Papa Joe joined us as he always does Thursday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. to speak with us this time around about the Jaguars, wheelin and dealin, as well as the Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, two number 12s, one of them understanding that you don't have to take all the money from the team to move forward and try and win a championship. And then Aaron Rodgers, who is going to seemingly break the bank just like Pat Mahomes. So we talked about that here. Then we had Gina Castelli on as her team gets prepared for their first round match, the round of 64 matchup in the NCAA tournament for the Albany Great Danes and the Louisville Cardinals. Excited for that. And we get to round out today's show with someone who I've had the pleasure of having on here more than once, and that is Matt Healing, Pace Setters men's basketball head coach, Division II in one of the greatest conferences that I've covered, the Northeast 10, and a lot of respect to the NE10. So happy to have Pace here, happy to have Matt here, as they made it to the NCAA tournament as well this year. So with that being said, Mr. Healing, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Dan. It's nice to be back on the show again.
Yeah, and it's great to have you, Matt, and great to be here with you. Looking at this season for you and the opportunity that you had to step forward here in this tournament to the NCAA, or in this season to the NCAA tournament. Just what you can say about this year for Pace, reflecting on it. I know that it's still fresh with you, and the tournament you were able to get a win under your belts before the season came to an end. So how do you look back at this season? As you've taken, I'm sure, some time to look at a 20-win season that ended inside of the NCAAs.
Yeah, this was definitely a successful season for us. It's a long season. We were coming off a year where we won 19 games. Then we had no season last year, so it had been a long layoff, and felt like we could have a pretty good team, but you never know how the layoff and how you're going to respond to not playing for a year, and some new pieces that we were wondering how they would mesh with everybody. But it was great to see it all come together well, which is just a testament to our players, specifically our older guys, fifth-year players, their will and hunger to make it that far. It was a great season for us, and hopefully it's something we can build on in the future.
And when you look at this season, you get to start off this season like Lemoyne, also in the NE10, playing, up against Syracuse in the Dome. What do you take from games like that, Matt? What does it show you about your team to play, Division I Syracuse? I know it's not out of the realm of normalcy that Pace gets to do that, and you get to, have that exhibition opportunity. So what did it do for your team, and does it do anything of significance that you can ever pull from later on in the season?
I think it does, absolutely. And, it's nice to be back on your show again, just in terms of the last time I was on was, right after that Syracuse exhibition. And it's kind of like, the interviews with you, I guess, are kind of bookending our season, right? Right from the first day to to the last week here. But yeah, I thought that was a great opportunity for us. I felt like after not playing really competitively for a while, obviously you get thrown right into the Carrier Dome to play against a prolific program like Syracuse. I thought that really caught our attention right away in the preseason and was able to get us focused. Not that they wouldn't be focused anyway, but just I would assume any coach at our level that is able to get one of those high-level Division I exhibition games, your team right away is locked in, ready to go, excited to play on that stage, and at the same time, it's a very high-level, formidable opponent. So you've got to play your best. You got to be sharp. It didn't really go our way, obviously, losing by 19 points or 18 points or whatever it was. But I thought we competed really hard. I thought it really set the tone for us moving forward. We started out our season, with a nice win streak and kind of carried it on from there.
Yeah, and you ended the regular season winning 8 of 9 inside of the NE10. Bring me into that stretch run before you went into the NE10 tournament. As I stated before, such a difficult conference, and you were able to win 8 of your last 9 in the regular season this season and 7 in a row heading into the NE10 tournament.
Yeah, NE10 is a high-level league, as you mentioned, one of the best Division II basketball conferences in the country. We just had 5 teams in the NCAA tournament, so we take a lot of pride in how well we did in league and winning the Southwest Division Championship, our first. But yeah, this season is so long, and there's so many peaks and valleys. We got off to a really good start, then we kind of hit some bumps in January, and then I kind of actually take it back to that Lemoyne game for us, the one that we played at the end of January. We were, we had kind of like won, then lost, and won, then lost, and I felt like, the last month of the year for us could have gone a couple different ways depending on how we rallied, and we went into Lemoyne, wound up gutting out a 1-point victory on the road. Fifth-year kid for us, Austin Gilbertson, who's been, one of our leaders and captains here for years, steps up, makes a couple big free throws to win the game in the final second, and then right from there we go on the long win streak. That was the first one, and that's really the season for you, right? Just the waves of momentum, and we were able to take that one and pretty much ride it to the finish line.
Yeah, and you spoke about getting the Southwest Division title and that being your first there in the regular season. Pace split it in the Southwest Division in women's basketball as well, so they had a share of the regular season title. So Pace winning a regular season title in the Southwest Division for both men's and women's basketball, just what that does for the university and what you can say about the women's side of things as well, with a 24-7 season and Carrie Seymour obviously having success herself.
Oh yeah, we're so happy for them and proud of them, and 2 programs that are very close and tight, players and coaches. And it's a great thing for the university, to have 2 really successful basketball teams this year. I feel like how it is. It takes a village to kind of win and move programs forward. And she's had a lot of success with her program, but it's just such a great thing for the university and the department. And we have great department leadership here at Pace, and just everybody who's involved, players, coaches, facilities, alumni, administrators. It's very gratifying to see both teams have success like this because so many people are involved in that.
From what brought you there to what keeps you there, going off of what you just said here with Matt Healing, the men's basketball head coach at Pace University for the Setters, what brought you to Pace and what keeps you at Pace, in your opinion, as you move forward?
I was brought on as an assistant. Before Pace, I was at NJIT on staff with Jim Engels, who's now at Columbia. Had an opportunity to come here as an assistant. Was fortunate to get bumped up to head coach after 2 years as an assistant coach. We weren't overly successful, so very thankful that they saw something in me and gave me an opportunity to take the reins of the program and put it in that right direction. And yeah, we've had success now, so now it's just about building on that success. And we were talking just yesterday about, as a staff, about, wow, what a really cool experience this was for us. The NCAA tournament, to win a game in the NCAA tournament, really one basket away from our school's first ever Sweet 16 appearance. And, it was a great experience, and that's really cool. But at the same time, it might be the worst thing that it was really cool too, because now you're going to be sick if you can't get back there or can't make it further. So, already focused on trying to do that as a coach that never stops.
And seeing the fact that you advanced to the NCAA tournament, what I think is great about the advancement to that is after, you play in the NE10 tournament and don't win that conference tournament, you get chosen as an at-large, like you said, 5 teams moving on from the NE10. Just what it says about the conference itself that, the selection committee is looking at body of work and they respect the Northeast 10, they respect pace, just what that means to you to be inside of a conference where you don't have to win the tournament just to get in, because other conferences don't have, they don't have that. NCAA Division I, II, and III, there's conferences that can do everything with all their might, and if you don't win the conference tournament, you're not getting a look. The NE10, you were able to show that, and I think that's something that Division II for the NCAA tournament has displayed, and more as we moved forward, that, the NE10 is a conference they look to, and they look to teams and say, okay, when we're doing at-large bids, we need to open up some spots for some of these. So just what it meant to you to advance to the tournament, and then, secondly, to do it as an at-large bid, knowing that there's respect for the conference that you're in.
It's huge for the league to continue to get multiple bids, just like you're saying. It's something we certainly use during the recruiting process. Fortunate that we can get so many teams from the Northeast 10 Conference in there. Even for us, when we were kind of trying to ascend from where we were when we started, we knew that to make the NCAA tournament, we didn't have to win the conference tournament. Could we get us to a spot where we were second, third, fourth, potentially in the league? And fortunately for us, we had moved and actually won the regular season championship and put us in a great position. But it speaks volumes about the league. We might not have anybody nationally right now who are in the top 10, even though Bentley is playing in the Elite 8 next week. But what makes the league so tough is there's 14 teams, and every single team is very good. So if there's 300 Division II teams, we might not have anybody in the top 10 right now. We're ranked in the top 10 throughout most of the season, but every one of the 14 teams are probably in the top 125 or 150 in the country. So every game is a battle, and you got to bring it every night. There's really no easy wins. So, and I also think that the longevity of that, kind of makes every team in the NE10 battle tested, especially when you get to that point of conference tournament play, NCAA tournament play. I think I was asked in the post-game press conference after our win over Dominican. Dominican had been to that spot 4 straight years in the NCAA tournament. This is your first time being in the NCAA tournament. So how were you guys able to pull out the win without that experience? And I just said, listen, Dominican is seasoned. They were seasoned as an NCAA tournament team, but we're seasoned in our own way. And I really believe that, just being in the grind of the NE10 seasons you in a way that really prepares you for that stretch run in March.
Yeah, and like you said, first NCAA tournament appearance, for you, Matt, for everything you've talked about, your history and whatnot, to have that under your belt, to have that as something to ring the bell with as you step forward, to get to the NCAA tournament, to win in the NCAA tournament over Dominican, and then to push Bentley, who's a team all too well, to overtime despite the loss, and to make them have to go to an extra period. Just where pace is right now as men's basketball steps forward, to be an NCAA tournament team, to be a team that's now one inside of it, and to be a team that's pushing the Bentleys of the world, just what it says about you and how you can utilize that moving forward.
Yeah, I'm just so happy for our program. That for me, getting the job as a young head coach, first head coaching job, especially now as some of the years have gone by, it means so much to all of us. And I, as a head coach, realize, how much it matters to the collective group. Like I said, the players, the coaches, the families, the alumni, just as we've made this run these last couple of years and then this year into the NCAA tournament, you realize how many people are a part of it. How many people throughout the years have given, whether it's financially, emotionally, any of those things. So we've got a great school. We've got a great university and campus here. There's a lot of good things going on, and for whatever reason we weren't able to to have the basketball team to match that, and seemingly now we are. But at the same time, for me, it's just kind of I'm the one that oversees the program, but just really trying to bring to light what a great opportunity this is for young men, and trying to make our alumni proud.
And I'm happy for you, Matt. I'm happy that the work that you've done and everything that you've believed in, that you've worked tirelessly, because people don't get to see those hours, that blood, sweat, and tears, and everything that you have really committed yourself to doing at Pace University. I want to thank you, because Pace is a name that continuously gets more and more put in front of my face, and that's because of the success. It's because of the hard work, the dedication, and determination, and it's because of people like yourself that believe in the process. So thank you for what you're doing. You're always welcome on the show. And as a longtime Alling Jets fan, I want to shout out your buddy Enrico Mastriani, who's a Browns fan. I'm a Jaguars fan, so I think we all owe each other a cigar right now. But it's always good to have you on the show, and I'm so happy for everything that you've done, and very much appreciate the fact that you have just been living a dream. And I know you don't take a lot of credit for yourself. I know you always talk about the community and the school itself, but I hope you can appreciate and take the thank you this morning.
No, I appreciate that very much, Dan. It's great to be on the show. Appreciate what you do as well. And yes, me, you, and Rico, three good guys that probably haven't seen a lot of success from our football teams. But maybe the three of us can get together and do an NFL draft show, since that's what really we look for at this point.
Yeah, do an NFL draft show, or all if we all get together and pool our wins, we'll have 6. So that's good.
Yes, pretty much.
Well, I look forward to talking with you soon, Matt, and thank you as always, okay?
All right. Thank you, Dan.
All right, take care. That coming from Matt Healing once again on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. And as a Jets fan, I guess it is very fitting that his last name is Healing, because he has to do a lot of it, just like I have to do as a Jaguars fan. But for the good news side of things, in the world that he can affect at Pace, they've had a lot of success, and a shout out to them. So great to see that, and I thank each and every one of you at Pace for the hard work that you've done. Shout out to the women's team who's in the Elite Eight, and the men's team who also made the tournament. So great to have that, and I appreciate that. So with that being said, we're going to take our final step aside inside the Cafe Kubal studios for today. We'll be back to wrap up this morning's broadcast and get you set with an hour to go. You only have an hour to get your bracket into my bracket challenge. It is free. It is easy. We have set records around the world before. I want to get as many people as we could possibly get into this bracket challenge. So join us today. I just shared it on our feed. So make sure you join the Wake Up Call Bracket Challenge for free. It's easy, and it is very user-friendly. We do it through Yahoo. So make sure you join us in the Bracket Challenge with an hour to go before tip-off. So you got to have your bracket in by then. We'll take a step aside and, as I said, wrap up the show right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student-athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. We are inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out here where sports meets that thing called life. I want to thank you so much for being a part of the show today, and a special thanks to our incredible guests inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Get your popcorn ready by going to MonPazPopcorn.com to get popcorn, kettle corn, tons of different flavors you wouldn't even have thought were possible, but they are, because Mon Paz is incredible. Mon Paz is like going to an amusement park every single day, because they have the cotton candy, they have the chocolate dipped Oreos, they have the chocolate dipped pretzel sticks, they have their awesome lemonades, and of course all their fantastic kettle corn and popcorn flavors. So go to MonPazPopcorn.com, order today, any one of the 50 states. They will deliver to you so that you can have your March Madness the right way. Big shout out to my guests, Papa Joe, Gina Castelli, and Matt Healing. Shout out to Papa Joe, and thanks to talking with us about the wheeling and dealing of the Jacksonville Jaguars, as well as Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Happy that his surgery went well, and God willing, everything will continue to go well for him and Lily and the whole family. So my prayers to PJ and everyone as always, and Miss Mary and the crew. Gina Castelli, big ups to them, winning the America East Tournament, punching their ticket to the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Tournament, playing up against Louisville, Kentucky in Louisville, or playing up against Louisville Cardinals in Louisville, Kentucky tomorrow, March 18th, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. Excited that the Great Danes are in the NCAA Tournament. Excited for Gina and hoping that they pull off a victory here. Very excited for that. And Matt Healing for their 20-win season, everything they've done at Pace, the fantastic work of him and his staff and the student athletes, and of course the administration. Shout out to the setters, and a big ups to them on their NCAA tournament berth themselves and tournament victory as Pace continues to make history under Matt Healing. We thank you every Monday through Friday for watching and listening Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com, facebook.com, and mixlr.com, all /WakeUpCallDT. Also on facebook.com /LiveNowDT and on wakeupcalldt.com. Once the show goes live, you can find us in the archives by checking out our broadcasts on Stitcher, MixLR, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Podbean, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, and of course, YouTube. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or one word, Wake Up Call DT on all of these platforms. And a thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners and beyond, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Go to maandpaspopcorn.com nationwide. Honda City of Liverpool, the Millhouse Market, Pizza Man, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Mother's Cupboard, and Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It is fins up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with unprecedented coverage of the Lemoyne Dolphins that you won't find anywhere else. Conversations with student athletes, coaches, athletics director Bob Beretta, president Dr. Linda Lemura, as well as future Dolphins and alumni all happen on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Wednesdays at 9 a.m. is Dolphin Time, and every first and third Wednesday we have AD and DT episodes featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Every second and fourth Wednesday we have the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, future Dolphins, as well as alumni and staff members. Every second and fourth Wednesday, once again, Dolphin Dive, and hearing their why they chose Lemoyne, what it means to be a Dolphin, and so much more. You can catch all those specials and more by going to wakeupcalldt.com's Lemoyne tab, and also by subscribing to our YouTube channel, youtube.com /wakeupcalldt. You can find our library of Lemoyne content there, and you can find out more information on the Lemoyne Dolphins by going to lemoynedolphins.com. Big time shout out to the men's and women's basketball team for their work this season, as well as to the swimming and diving teams and everyone out there, and the soccer teams, very excited for all that is to come. And a big shout out to the success of the men's and women's golf teams, led by Joe Tesori, taking over the women's team for the first time ever, and long time been the men's head coach. Big shout out to men's and women's tennis at Lemoyne, as well as the work that they are doing on the lacrosse field on the men's and women's side, and for softball and baseball. Shout out to the Dolphins, and as always, fins up. Big ups to your Marywood Pacers, as well as Wake Up Call is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of the Marywood Pacers and Marywood University. We have a fantastic special coming up for you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time to round out the week with the president of Marywood University, their 12th president all-time, Sister Mary Persico. Cannot wait to share our conversation with Sister Mary from on-site, on location at Marywood University. You can check out all of our exclusive specials with the Pacers in our Pacer Pride content on youtube.com /wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, and on the Marywood tab of wakeupcalldt.com. You can find the Pacers on Fridays with all new Pacer Pride episodes airing between 10 and 11 a.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And you can get more information on the Pacers by going to marywoodpacers.com. The Bryan and Stratton Bobcats, the newest exclusive multimedia marketing partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. The Bobcat Buzz happens every single month when we have the opportunity to speak with your Bobcats AD, as well as their assistant AD, their head coaches, and their student athletes. The Bryan and Stratton Bobcats have never had coverage like this, and we're so happy to bring you Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse Bobcats every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. very, very much look forward to everything that is to come. And of course, you can go back and watch all of our content with the Bobcats by going to the BSC SYR tab on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as well as on wakeupcalldt.com. Make sure you do that. Go to wakeupcalldt.com and click on the BSC SYR tab. And you can also find all of our Bobcat Buzz content on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Don't forget to click subscribe. And you can get more information on the Bobcats by going to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. With that being said, I am excited to get as many people as we possibly can into our bracket challenge this year, as we always do with Yahoo. So excited to do this. Very much looking forward to it. Make sure you join us today. The links are up on our social media. No excuses. Join our bracket challenge, and we are so much looking forward to having you there. Very, very much looking forward to the tournaments that are going on the men's and women's side for D1, D2, and D3. Shout out to the USCAA as well as to the NJCAA and to everybody who has advanced and to everybody who has played their seasons. Congratulations to everybody, win, lose, or draw. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for caring. And thank you for all the tireless work that you do as student athletes, administrators, and coaches. So with that being said, I bid you adieu for today. I'll be watching the tournament from noon until midnight. Wake Up Call at Wake Up Call DT on Facebook, at Call DT on Twitter, at Wake Up Call _DT on the Instagram. And as always, from the Cafe Kubal Studios, God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk with you for TGIF in a conversation with Sister Mary Persico that you will not want to miss. Whether you know Mary Wood or don't, this is a conversation for the ages.